Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much, Jamie, for that, and thank you so much for your absolute enthusiasm for both the museum, but also for getting together. We, the museum, like everyone else here, in whatever business they've had, has clearly been affected incredibly by the last 18 months, and I'm delighted to say that from a conference perspective, you are our first guests since that incredible day back in the spring 18 months ago when pretty much everything ground to a halt. Jamie introduced me as the CEO of the museum, which is an absolute honour and a privilege to be. I'm also an executive board member of Visit Somerset, and that is an equal privilege to be a part of that organisation, which I think you will all agree, certainly during the last 18 months, has been incredible, an incredible support, worked tirelessly, and are a real example to us all. And I think, actually, before we start and before I do a little bit of housekeeping, I think we should all stand up and give John, Giles and the team a huge round of applause for the efforts they've put in over the last 18 months. So we got through that without having a fire alarm. If we do have a fire alarm, it's not been planned. We have no practices planned. We've got two fire exits, one over there and one at the back of the room. So please exit in orderly fashion. And there is a collection point just over to the right beyond the children's play area. In terms of attendance today, again, welcome to you all. I think, John, we're probably missing a few, and I suspect that's because they've been struggling with the fuel crisis, which, depending on what you believe, isn't necessarily too much of a crisis if we all just bought petrol when we needed it rather than filling up fuel cans, but maybe I'm getting a bit controversial there. So I think what we've got here is what we're going to have, but please make room for anyone on your table if they join us during the day. So very briefly, I'd like to talk about two things, a little bit about the museum and then just a little bit about Somerset before I hand over. So like every other business and organisation, the museum was thrown into unknown territory 18 months ago. I sat down with my senior executive team and we very quickly agreed that we would focus on two things. The first thing would be to minimise on the financial loss. And the second thing was to look at the opportunity that arose from the situation and how we could use that opportunity to our benefit and how we could look after our staff through that journey. Those of you that have been to the museum before, I hope will have noticed that things are quite different from 18 months ago. We've done a lot of work, a lot of it kind of boring in that we've had to re-roof, but it gave us the opportunity to put new lighting in, new flooring, and we've completely changed the layout of the museum. And I'm really pleased to say that our visitor numbers since we opened are 20% up on those numbers that we had in 2019. Obviously 2020 we were closed. So far so good. The other thing that we used the last 18 months to do is to take the opportunity to look to plan for the future. We realigned our strategic priorities and we've developed a 5-year plan. The 2020s, I believe, are going to be Somerset's decade. Often when you talk to people and you ask them about Somerset in the past, they sort of say, yeah, 10, 15 years ago, yeah, I saw it once on Escape to the Country, where people went to just have a quiet life. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I look around this room and I don't see one person who's looking for a quiet life. The 2020s are going to be Somerset's decade. You only have to open a broadsheet every weekend, every Sunday paper. You've all seen it. Everyone is talking about Somerset. And together, and when I say together, I mean Visit Somerset as the glue that binds us all together. We have got one hell of a ride. We've had 1 year of the 2020s, and yes, it's been a challenge. And I'm not saying that this next 12 months isn't going to be without bumps. But the 2020s are going to be ours. Let's work together. Let's let Visit Somerset do all the amazing things they're doing, and let's engage with Visit Somerset. And I think the future looks really bright and really exciting. And I'm really delighted that you're all here today engaging and hearing about all the amazing things and all the amazing help that Visit Somerset can give you. So I wish you a fantastic conference. And as Jamie said, please do use this opportunity to extend the hand of friendship to those that you've not met before. And finally, please do feel free.
Thank you very much indeed, Chris. A positive message, reiterating the future of our wonderful county. And tell you what, we're the first people to be here today. So when you get a chance, no touching them motors, but do take a photograph if you're that way inclined. See if you can tag them on your social media as well. Not that it's not an international museum, but let's just let people know around our wonderful county that this venue is now alive, functioning well. It's been remapped. And by the way, there's a new roof as well. That's great stuff. So thank you very much indeed, Chris. It's an honour to have you here, and thank you for carving out some time to come and speak to us. So next up, first up in terms of our presentations today, we have none other than some fella called John Turner. He is the CEO of Visit. I've got so many hard jokes here I wanted to say about artificial intelligence and stuff. I'm going to leave them out because you may kick me off the stage. But John Turner, of course, is a friend of many, not everyone. We're getting to know each other a little bit over the last year or so. We've got mutual friends, and John has been an absolute gem. It's a real honour to be invited to come along. It was him who said it. So he's going deep into AI at the moment. I think it's next year you're going to be doing is it an MSc, apprenticeship in AI? That's from September. So look, he believes two things. I'm going to quote him, that we should be concerned with moving forward. These are the two things, the climate crisis and artificial intelligence in equal measure. So this is the presentation, the growth in artificial intelligence at Visit Somerset, automated booking, the future of Somerset's platform economy, and new online Visit Somerset membership benefits. It's quite a mouthful, John Turner. Accompanying him in a virtual way is Nicholas Peterson, who is the MD, or the Managing Director, of course, of Instaroom. He has significant experience as a Swiss hotelier. He's been a regional director of a large hotel chain. He's joining us virtually. And Instaroom provides state-of-the-art technology that automates guest messaging and complex booking flows. So he's a hotel management expert, having had lots of GM roles as well. So time for one or two questions at the end, other questions in the pads. Please welcome to the stage John and virtually Nicholas Peterson. Thank you.
Hello, everybody, and a really, really warm welcome. Thanks to all those for coming today. I know, obviously, we've been through a mare of an 18 months, and we now obviously have a petrol crisis as well. So for those that have actually made it, great. For those that didn't, we will be videoing everything today, and it will be going out on our YouTube channel afterwards, which you'll hear more about later. As you know, YouTube is the second largest platform in the world, so it's really important that we all engage with it. Just moving, as Jamie just said, there are actually three things, apart from death and taxes, that we all need to consider as part of our business strategy as we move forward, if nothing else. As Jamie said, the first is the climate crisis, which is impacting all our lives, and we all need to consider how we and our customers engage together in the future in a more environmentally sustainable way. The second is education. This is possibly the biggest elephant in the room that I have been working alongside Western College with for several years now, in actually how we transform our skills network in the workforce for a future that has already arrived. And Western College are here today to discuss more of that. And the final thing, as you all know, it's a topic that I'm absolutely obsessed with, is artificial intelligence. But actually, we should all be obsessed about artificial intelligence because it's in every walk of our life. But actually, I think, like the majority of us, we just follow like sheep, as we have with the petrol crisis, and if somebody says shout, everybody shouts. But actually what's going on underneath the surface is manipulating our behaviour in real time like never before. But bizarrely, unless you're a geek like me, people just don't seem to understand it. So algorithms, which is probably a term that you've heard around, is software enhancements that are set up to predict and support artificial intelligence. In macro and micro data, they are consuming huge amounts of data, and data silos or data warehouses, whatever you want to use, whichever term you want to use. And this data, which is being rallied by big organizations such as Amazon or Google or Facebook or Twitter, this is being used to support, I won't use the word manipulate, but to support us in our buying behaviors, in influencing us, in actually changing the way we do things in our everyday lives. But are we aware of it? Quite possibly not. So whether it's in recommending and helping banks to determine creditworthiness, or individuals and you're understanding your viewing habits, or creating personalized recommendations, artificial intelligence, not people, artificial intelligence is understanding you, possibly better than you understand yourself. And Visit Somerset is beginning that journey now in relation to our 850,000 users, just to start to create personas around all of those individuals so that we can target and we can work with those individuals in real time using personalization strategy. So, hi John, I know you like Brogue boots. Hey, there's a 25% discount if you buy today. That kind of thing. So suddenly the nuance of actually understanding what we like is there at your screen. But probably more often than not, you don't realize this, but actually that's what's going on. But as we know, there are massive consequences to this. Massive consequences, of which we are seeing now. Amazon has already made a statement recently at McKinsey's that we're seeing what was 5 years away in terms of technological adoption, because of the pandemic, has now been realised to 12 months. So what they would have forecast for 5 years is now 1 year in terms of technical adoption. Whether you know what that technical adoption actually incurs and how it manipulates you or works with you is one thing, but you are buying online more than you ever were before, you are booking online, you're booking accommodation online more than you ever were before, you're doing all of these things, and that goes along with massive transformations in the way that we operate as individuals. And whether it's Airbnb or whether it's Amazon, our industries and our economies are changing like never before. And there will be consequences. There will be redundancies. But the flip side of that is pundits and economists believe that artificial intelligence will actually generate more jobs than we lose jobs. So we need to get rid of that myth now. But for that to happen, we need to make sure that our education system can really, really engage and train those individuals for a future that has already arrived. So in terms of Visit Somerset, really briefly, I'm a chartered marketer by profession with the Chartered Institute of Marketing, and I get really frustrated because the authorities keep saying, I'll put the finger in the wind, hey, here's a grant, let's do this. Or, okay, why don't we have a go at that? Or, how about this? And every year, hundreds of thousands of pounds is poured down the drain, in my professional estimation, because we don't know one thing, and that is the customer. Market research has been done for the Great Southwest, and we've all paid into the market research. It comes up with great statistics. What do we do with those statistics? Not a lot. How do we reshape our business in accordance with our customers' needs whilst maintaining a profit, which is the basis of all marketing? Well, I would say 99% of those things that I've witnessed, we just don't. We continually think that we are the experts, we know what's right, and therefore we carry on doing it. I'm Rishi Sunak, and what I've done is I've put multi-billions of pounds into the economy in the Help Eat Out to Help Out scheme. Whilst on the other hand, the other part of the government has actually said, tell you what, Amazon, we're going to give you 14.5% of market share in Deliveroo. So on the one hand, you're giving, and on the other hand, you're taking people away from the high street. We have a high street recovery plan when in the first quarter of 2020, Amazon generated a world record-breaking, eye-watering $80 billion of turnover in the first quarter of 2020. Yet, the government still seems to think we need to have a high street recovery fund. What this says to me is something that I really thrive on, which is common sense. That actually, what we're not doing is we are still thinking about the past, and we're not thinking about the way the consumer is actually driving our economy. And there are some really scary things, I believe, that are going to happen unless we re-educate ourselves, get ourselves ready for a future that has already started. So for us at Visit Somerset, it's all about the consumer. You'll hear from Nicholas in a minute, who's in Berlin as we speak, just ready to come online. But Nicholas is an expert in artificial intelligence and bot technology. And we started working with him to start reshaping and reorientating our business to one that is more consumer-focused. So we are creating a big data silo with our 850,000 unique users. That's a whopping great number, yeah? So we're starting to get to know those individuals, and we're starting to personalize. We're starting to engage with them in real time and answer questions in real time. And then in the near future, the next 12 months, we're looking at automating our booking for accommodation and experiences, e-commerce, which you'll hear about later, chatbots, which, again, Nicholas will talk to you about in terms of where we are on that road now, artificial intelligence, which will really be the kind of the building blocks that will bring it all together, programmatic